Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard of Paul Gabriel? He's a very rich guy because Daddy had a lot of money, and Daddy gave him a lot of money, and now he's the LeBron James of investing because he comes from money. He has more money than you poor little loser. Here he is right here. So apparently this guy is the LeBron James of investing, and strongman personal finance is an incompetent moron because Paul has more money than me. Obviously, I mean, he does. I can't deny that. Jeremy has more money than me too. I guess he's a loser as well. Now, Paul has some investments. He has some history to back up his claims that he is a LeBron James of finance. Number one, he has created the stock analyzer tool. I created the same thing in about 30 minutes in Microsoft Excel, but I'll give him some props, okay? He created it, he put it together, he imported some data from Morningstar, and now he charges people $30 a month or $80 a month to get access to his Patreon stonk analyzer tool and day trading degeneracy. Good job, Paul. Well, apparently, Paul also knows how to pick outstanding stocks because I'm a loser, strongman personal finance, because I invest in index funds. Paul Gabriel, because he's so experienced and so intelligent, and he has the stock analyzer tool, which I made in 30 minutes. He knows how to pick individual stocks by punching some numbers into this calculator. Now, we're going to talk about Smith & Wesson, okay? It's a gun manufacturer, a boom manufacturer. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that in YouTube. But they just had earnings, and they're not looking too good. And I want to show you the fatal flaw behind Paul Gabriel's stock analyzer tool. Number one, it assumes that if you put in a number, let's say you put in revenue growth, right? -2%, 0, or 2%, which he has here. This video was made on April 5th, 2022. And here he is analyzing Smith & Wesson. If you put a revenue growth assumption in there, the tool takes the trailing 12 months revenue and it grows the revenue based on that number over the next 5 or 10 years. That's what the tool does. However, if there is a massive change in the company's fundamentals or something drastically changes, the numbers that you put in there are absolutely meaningless. You have to go in there and you have to update your tool because the numbers have changed. And remember, because of the time value of money, the years that are closer to when you first ran the DCF, let's say you ran the DCF in 2022 and you projected revenue and profit and earnings in 2023, 2024, 2025. The earnings in 2023 that you're discounting back to the present are actually worth more because of the time value of money than earnings further out in the future. Basically, the present value of the earnings gets decayed by your discount rate over time. So if there's a massive change in your company's profit and loss in the near term, you have a massive revenue decline, you have a massive collapse of profitability, your tool, your projections, your DCF, your buy point will be totally off. So here we can see this massive clown has Smith & Wesson in here. He put in -2% revenue growth for the low, 0% for the middle, and 2% for the high. Let's go look at Smith & Wesson's actual earnings, and let's see if that matches his DCF, and let's see if that potentially could change some of his assumptions. But of course, he'll probably buy the dip, okay? Second quarter fiscal 2023 financial results. Net sales were $121 million, a decrease of $109 million, or 47% from the comparable quarter last year, but 6% higher than a comparable quarter in fiscal year 23. So they're trying to make it sound good. Their revenue has declined year over year, 47%. Let's go back to the DCF. Oh, he's got -2% at the lowest. Unbelievable. Okay, gross margin was 32% compared to 44% in the comparable quarter last year. This company's getting wrecked. GAAP net income was $9.6 million compared to $50 million in the comparable quarter last year. So the total profit and loss is 9.6 divided by 121, an 8% profit margin. So at least his profit margin in here on the low end was 100% correct. However, if you have much lower revenue, that profit margin on your DCF is a lot higher than what it is in reality, if that makes sense. So right off the bat, absolutely nothing on here matches whatsoever. These earnings are a catastrophe when you compare it to what he had on his assumptions, okay? And another thing I noticed is he has a PE ratio, looks like, of 8, 10, and 12 on here for Smith & Wesson. Now, when you do a PE ratio, it's a big part of your DCF, because it's what you're doing is you're assuming you're going to sell the company, and you're going to count that as a cash inflow on your DCF model. And as we could see, over the last couple of years, 2020, 2021, 2022, this company has had a PE ratio between 3 and 5 or 3 and 6. What does he have on his model? 8, 10, and 12. That causes a massive difference in this company's valuation. So right off the bat, we can see revenue is massively off on this. Profit margin was correct. At least for now, the price to earnings ratio is massively off where it should be. What is the value of this assumption, this model, this DCF that he did with these trash freaking earnings, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, this company's sales are collapsing. What happened? Well, all that happened was that they had massive explosive revenue growth during the pandemic, probably because of riots, probably because of stimulus checks, blah, 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 blah. People got a lot of money during the pandemic. And then the stimmies ran out, the child tax credits ran out, the generous unemployment benefits ran out, and the revenue has since absolutely collapsed. What a freaking joke. This is just a political gambling stock, okay? I did an analysis on this a long time ago, and basically, if a Democrat gets elected, everybody goes and buys guns, especially if the Democrat's anti-gun. If a Republican gets elected, that's actually bad for gun sales because people aren't as scared and they don't go buy as guns as much. It's a political gambling stock. The revenue goes all over the place. The profit and loss goes all over the place. I don't even know how to value this. It's just a bunch of garbage, okay? So once again, Paul gets proven to be an absolute freaking moron. Revenue has collapsed. Oh, negative 2% assumptions. It's just a disaster, okay? So that's my thoughts. I'm not freaking touching this massive turd with a 10-foot pole. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Paul, what are your thoughts about this, man? Are you going to buy the dip? I mean, it's only down like, what, 15% today after earnings? All right, cheers.